Bend the knee!
Varys the Spider, Daemon Blackfyre. What do these two men have in common? Maybe nothing, maybe a whole lot of something. I'm Don Willie. Today we're going to be discussing the possible Blackfyre Conspiracy. Now, for those of you who have not read A Song of Ice and Fire, books 1 through 5, you don't need to be here. Spoilers ahead. For those of you who only watch the show, possible spoilers, and I say possible because this is something that may or may not take place in the show, especially in light of what has happened with Varys for Season 5, Episode 1, and his plan to install Daenerys on the Iron Throne. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole history of the Blackfyres. What I will do is I will link some videos that will give you some background on the Blackfyres, the Blackfyre rebellions. We're going to start from where we're at in the show and in the books. Now, in the books, we have Varys, who says that he has the son of Rhaegar Targaryen, Aegon the Targaryen, who, if he ascended to the throne, would be Aegon the Sixth. Now, supposedly, Aegon was killed by the Mountain during the sack of King's Landing. Varys says that he switched him out for a stable boy, and that Ilya Martell agreed to this because they knew the kingdom was that the capital was about to be sacked, and they wanted to save him. Now, so the theory of this whole Blackfyre conspiracy is that Varys is actually a Blackfyre descended from the female line, that his trusted associate, Illyria Mopatis, was married to his sister, and they basically are trying to fool the world into thinking that this teenager who was saying that he's Aegon Targaryen is actually a Blackfyre. We have absolutely no proof of this. There are people who speculate that we will get proof in either The Winds of Winter or A Dream of Spring by way of Aegon presenting the Blackfyre sword, which was last seen in the presence of the Golden Company about 100 years before this story, and it's been lost ever since. Now, as we all know, Blackfyre was the sword of Aegon the Conqueror. It was given to Daemon Blackfyre I by his father, Aegon V, also known as Aegon the Unworthy. Daemon Blackfyre was one of his great bastards, and, the main reason for the Blackfyre Rebellion starting was basically because people said, well, he gave you the sword, it's Aegon the Conqueror's sword, then I guess, he wanted you to be king and not your brother Daeron. So, my thoughts on this whole thing. I mean, obviously it's very plausible, as, it does seem kind of hard to think that Varys was able to get this kid out of King's Landing, raise him in another country, no one ever found out about it, and, he's going to install him. Now, also, you have Daenerys' visions from the House of the Undying. You have her communications with Quaithe, who, told her that, she's going to be betrayed, all of this stuff. And also there's references to, the Black Dragon of House Blackfyre. There's the quote, "Red or black, a dragon is still a dragon." And, this is all leading people to suspect that Aegon is not truly Aegon, that he is a Blackfyre. Now, with regards to that, now in the world of Ice and Fire, we get lineages for the Targaryens, right? Now, in the World of Ice and Fire, we get the whole big chapter on Aegon IV and all of his bastards, well, the great bastards, and basically how the Blackfyre Rebellion started. Now, aside from that, when Aegon V had an older brother who died in one of the free cities. I forget which one right now, but I believe he had 2 children. And, it's funny because as much information as we have, there's a lot of information that we don't have, and specifically about Targaryens, because there are other Targaryens out there, whether they be Targaryen bastards or whether they be the offspring of, a prince. And it's just like, all right, well, yeah, but these people were kind of disinherited. Now, I've also heard that there is a Blackfyre theory, which basically states that the Blackfyres and Aegon V's his brother's offspring, their descendants, got together and they decided to all come together and take over the Iron Throne because, truthfully speaking, Aegon V's nephew or niece, well, no, his nephew actually should have had the throne, but he was a child at the time. And they don't even actually name him. So, as much as George likes to throw curveballs, that could be another one. It could be, hey, everybody's thinking it's the whole Blackfyre thing. Wrong again! No Blackfyre, it's Bright Flame. Right? It is a very interesting thing to think about. And, I'd like to see where it goes. And just, to go back to the show again, I can't see how they could possibly just gloss over that and just say that, all right, well, Varys all this time was trying to get Daenerys back on the throne, and there is no Blackfyre conspiracy there, because he did follow Robert's orders to have her assassinated. So people will say that that the reason why Varys did that is for Jorah to gain Daenerys' trust. I'm like, okay, but but later on in the show, not in the books, but in the show, Varys is part of the crew that sends Daenerys that letter with the pardon from Robert Baratheon. And if he was using Jorah as one of his agents, why would he throw him under the bus like that? Makes no sense. If your whole plan is to help Daenerys get back on the Iron Throne and Jorah Mormont is helping her, then why throw Jorah Mormont under the bus? Doesn't make any sense to me, but, you rationalize it how you want to. Yeah, listen, the Blackfyre Conspiracy, unfortunately, is something that, while it does have a basis in events from the books, it also was something that, unfortunately, we don't know whether it's going to be true or not. So, listen, leave me your thoughts on this. Who knows, I might do a follow-up video on it. Next, I'm going to talk about the White Walkers, doing more subscriber stuff, as always. So anyway, you already know the drill. Rate, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, leave me comments, leave me suggestions, all that good stuff. Don Willie, and I'm out.